this is paradise for me. Dhaka within 5 minutes.
Yes, you can go.
Everything is here.
Everything is here.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever you have in your mind.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Break at SELISE. So today's episode, we have a very special guest with us. We have Niklaus Graber, who is an architect, a researcher, and a key voice connecting Bangladesh's architectural narrative to the global stage. From working very closely on very important works and exhibitions that document Bangladesh's design identity to Muzharul Islam, Islam's monograph, Nick has played a major role in bringing the story of Bangladesh's architectural scene to the world. Now, at SELISE, we are working as a global IT company, and we have also discovered Bangladesh's talent and creativity as a hub. And it's fascinating to see the similar patterns in architecture as well. And we are very excited to have you today here, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and welcome to our episode. Let's talk about that. You have worked very closely with Bangladesh's architecture for years, right? So for someone who is outside the region, how would you describe the architectural identity of Bangladesh today?
If I would sum up it with one or two words, I would say Bangladesh's architecture is all about permeability and porosity. And I see it in many senses, not only in the spatial sense, which triggers a very open architecture in exchange with the environment, but I see it also as a porosity or a permeability in society. To create spaces who are accessible for a wide range of people. And I have noticed that many architects who, for instance, work in Dhaka on the commercial sector, they also work in the rural areas.
Okay.
Basically for low-cost projects, or many architects are now working in the field of co-creation, where they do these participatory projects together with the people. So this transparency or porosity can be applied in many senses to the architecture of Bangladesh.
So what would you say that what makes Bangladesh's architecture so creative right now?
Again, I think it's this openness towards anything. It is an openness to tackle any situation which occurs. And I often hear that architects here say, whatever comes along our way, it is something we are interested in to tackle. And this can be a variety of topics. It can be, again, urban fabric. It can be the urban architecture, but again, the rural. It can be larger scale, smaller scale. And everything is basically treated in the same manner.
Yeah.
So the architects are really taking care to the task they are assigned with. And I think this is really special. There is no distinction between important and less important things.
Yeah.
This is a big difference probably to other hemispheres, where you have a clear agenda, priority list, and only the big jobs are on the top list, and then you have some side jobs. I see there is a fluidity between things. So again, same architects who work on big things work also on smaller
things as well. Would you say that it is there are some constraints that the architects that they have to take into consideration?
Yes, there are constraints, and there are also natural phenomena, as we know nowadays. Climate change has a big impact to Bangladesh for years already. We know there are other constraints, maybe economically, but I think the creativity probably does not spring from there, especially. I think it is a general mindset here, of a general curiosity towards many things. And if there is an obstacle, there will be a way around it somehow. And probably this comes from a characteristics here of the delta, where you're confronted with the rivers, which have a unpredictable course. So you are used probably here to shift and to find other solutions to work around.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, things are not complicated. Things are very direct, and I think this is what makes the creativity even increasing. It's not let's say, totally fully organized, predictable kind of process.
Yeah.
It's rather the belief in the process, and at any point of a process, you can go to another direction.
Yeah.
Which is probably different from
other parts of the world.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure that the cultural aspect plays a huge role in Bangladesh's architecture as well. What would you say?
Absolutely. No, I think this is the main reason for the quality of the architecture here, the link to the culture. Okay. Architects are very much linked to the culture in any sense here. I mean, they love their country, but they love their music, they love the poetry. So art is on a very, very high ranking on the priority of the architects here, and they're very close to that. And again, I think Bengal in general is a landscape or a region full of culture. I mean, I have hardly seen another place where everyday's life and culture is just intertwined as a unity. There is no actual distinction.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, there is a moment of cultural thinking, a cultural interaction. Is it food? Is it music? Is it a song? Is it literature? And this is a very old story here. If you look at Tagore's mindset, who always was open to the world, but also to the home. Yeah. I think this has remained here. This ability to see different worlds, not as a contradiction, but as a both and, which can work together. And in other hemispheres, as mine probably, or the Western one, we always seek for boundaries and clearness and right and left, and black and white.
Very practical.
Yeah, very practical, but we are building up our own limits. And the fluidity which is visible here in your culture between many different things, that openness, again, the both and, opens a lot of possibilities, I think. And architects are very much working with that concept of both and. There is not only one line you follow, or a concept you say has to be done from A to Z only on that track. Often in the right moment, the concept is left behind. Absolutely. And another one opens up. Again, this does not mean the result will be somehow not consistent, not at all. But the way how to get there is a different one from
the original idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
That is very fascinating to me. That sounds so amazing. Okay, so my next question for you would be that what personally inspires you whenever you are working in Bangladesh or you are visiting Bangladesh? So tell us a little bit about your history, how you came here, and how was your journey like?
Well, I came here originally for the first time to see the seminal parliament building in Dhaka, as many other architects does. Once in your life, you would like to see that. And this happened in 2012. But I had not a clear idea what else is going on here, because we were not taught about it. There was not really a lot of information, even online at the time. You did not find a lot of things, because the architects here were interested in architecture and not in self-promotion, most of all. So I happened to have the great luck to run into architects here the very same day I visited the parliament, and I was brought to a session where architects discuss, and I was really mind blown by the thoughts and by the topics which were addressed, which I haven't seen in that intensity during my career in Switzerland, for instance. So this made me very curious to learn more about. And soon I had the chance to bring my students here and to start interacting with the land and the country here, with the city and with many other architects. And from one to the next, things evolved. And this is also a phenomenon of Bangladesh, I would say, the openness, the hospitality, which opened so many doors. I would never have imagined that I would do things which I do now in Bangladesh, because in other countries this is unimaginable, that you come as a foreigner and all the doors are open. And many conversations started. It was in academia, but later also in practice, research. So many more trips followed. And I was always very much fascinated, especially also by the topic of how you tackle, or the architects here tackle the aspects of climate, not with technology, but with building wisdom, airflow, water management. All these things are very much refined, and we have a bit forgotten about that back in Europe, because we often just apply technology whenever there is a problem. And I think this is not the best way to look into things. I think we can learn a lot from the Bengali way of looking at architecture.
All right, thank you for saying that. Okay, so when following up on your point, that do you think that Bangladesh has something that the West, or especially Europe, they are missing?
Yes, I'm coming back to some of the points I already mentioned. I think it's this porosity, fluidity, also the will to tackle things. If a concept is getting stuck, you find another solution. You mobilize other manpower, probably brain power, which you have a lot here, of course. This is a big advantage. Immediately you can find other solutions, where in Europe, for instance, you need to plan out things, and if the plan fails, the plan gets just stuck. And whenever here there is a plan which is stuck, there is another way to solve the problem, and new things are coming up. So that's very inspiring. And I think also the directness, how architects work, how they have an idea, a creative mindset, and immediately can bring it down to earth or on ground in matter. It does not remain a theory. Theories are okay, they're fine, but sometimes they do not help. And especially architecture is always bound to matter and to physics. And we can talk a lot about it, but it doesn't help. So you have to build, you have to use whatever you have at hand and find a good and economic and ecological solution. And I think this is very much here in Bangladesh. Of course, we cannot generalize. As in any other country, you have a lot of building production, which is probably just average. But there is a high density of excellent architects here in the country, which
that is very
every
nice
corner you can see it. I think the average of excellence in Bangladesh is much higher than in other countries. It's a I would say a scene. It is a group of architects who move things forward and who are very much present nowadays, also internationally. More and more.
Understandable. That's a very interesting. Thank you for saying that. So I'm sure that a lot of people who are watching this, they would be very inspired. Sometimes they might not feel that they're good enough or their ideas are ready for the global stage. I'm sure that once they hear you talk about all of these things, they would feel much more inspired to actually execute their ideas as well.
Absolutely.
And same goes with technology as well. So you have a theory, sometimes you work on it, and then sometimes it might fail. So you have to come up with alternative ideas to execute it in the proper way. So that's that. So we sort of face this on a regular basis as well.
I can imagine. I think it's in every field you can benefit from that openness or that readiness to leave things behind and do something new. And this is a mindset which is really inspiring and wonderful, or a culture which is so much more forward-looking than backward-looking.
Yeah. Okay, we sort of have to at this point. We are sometimes faced with, natural calamities.
Absolutely.
And especially in the urban areas, we might not face that as much. But in the rural or semi-urban places, I'm sure that they are much more facing the natural disasters and things in a much more severe way.
Right. What is here today can disappear in a minute. So there is a cycle with the weather, the storms, the floods, whatever.
The river erosions,
right? Exactly.
Where people, thousands of people every year, they lose their homes, and then it doesn't ever stop them. Really, they will keep going. So that's a very good outlook I think they have.
And I think even if you are not having or facing these restraints, let's say in the urban areas or where the dangers are not too big anymore, I still see the readiness to not get stuck or not to be stubborn. I think stubbornness is something which hinders us to move, and I see really that readiness to just rethink things. One day it can be like this, but probably next day it's different, and this opens up a lot of chances.
Absolutely. So my next question would be that we often hear about the Western influence on the global South or South Asia. So, but how would you say that the South Asian culture, or especially Bangladesh, has influenced the West?
It is true that for a long time, especially during the modern period, a lot of Western dominance was seen around the globe, and many countries in other hemispheres followed that, or they had the impression that this is probably the solution, or it was sold as the solution. The Western world was selling that as the ultimate solution. But more and more we see there is a change and also more openness in the West to learn from other hemispheres. And I think this is an absolutely crucial thing, because only a one-way exchange isn't actually an exchange. It always needs two ways, and things evolve everywhere in parallel. There is not such a place who invents something and somebody copies it. I don't believe in that concept. I think
it's emerging of.
Yes, it's emerging on different fields, and but then it's always a question how it is communicated, and if somebody then claims a hegemonial kind of uniqueness to possess knowledge, then it becomes difficult. And
Absolutely.
I think today we can clearly see that, especially in climatic and social aspects, the West needs fresh blood, and the West needs new inspirations, because the urban planning over there came to a still stand, to a halt somehow. It was repeating itself. There were no new ideas, and now we are nourishing ourselves a lot from Eastern or Southern ideas, which is already visible in parts. At least there is more overlap, more both ends. Whereas some time back everything was segregated. City planning was about zoning, working, living, entertaining were in different zones, and now we're coming back to the concept of overlap, because we saw that those models, urban planning models, they somehow failed. They created city centers which are only touristic, or at night they're completely empty because nobody works there. Then we have these segments or sectors where people only are at night, during the day they're empty again, and this is a waste of land. Actually, we always do double.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate here, due to the fact that you're a highly densely populated country,
Yes.
overlap is just the regular.
Bound to be.
Yes, it's bound to be. And I'm not glorifying it. I know there is sometimes it's just too much. I'm not saying this is fantastic, and I see the congestion of the traffic here, and then this is not fantastic.
It's not. It's
Yes,
very
and
chaotic.
I know Dhaka is a tough city. Nevertheless, I think we should look at it with open eyes. And for instance, some people rank Dhaka on the lowest scale worldwide as the most unlivable city, but then there are other rankings which rank Dhaka on the top. If it comes to a notion like 15 minutes city or 5 minutes city even, then Dhaka ranks top. And this is a new phenomenon which we also take up in the Western cities, whereas before we divided everything and you had to travel 2 hours to see a doctor. Or for a grocery, you needed to take your car. This is paradise for me. Dhaka, within 5 minutes,
yes, you can go.
Everything is here.
Everything is here,
Right.
yes.
Whatever you have in your mind, it will be around you, more or less.
Yes. It sort of becomes the concept that you live with everything.
Right.
Right. So nothing is segregated or nothing is kept separate.
Exactly.
Like if you are in Western worlds, there you have school districts and your schools are very much separated from the other working places and everything.
Correct.
But here you don't have that.
Right.
You can be a parent, you have to go to your work, you can easily drop your child to their school and then go to your work as well, just as easily.
No, I think it's a fascinating model, and it's no wonder that it is picked up worldwide. And this segregation actually is also socially very unhealthy. For instance, the division between elderly people and younger people, as we have experienced it in the north or the west, is a very unhealthy thing. You put the elderly one in an elderly home. They should be living in the city center where they have interaction with younger generations, with families. And I mean, it's an old story, but we have to rethink it because we just lost all these things, which were actually there once. We also had this overlap, and many things which you still have were there, but they were cancelled in the sake of economy, efficiency, and I think this efficiency which we believe to have in the West is not there at all anymore. Because what is efficiency?
What is efficiency? We are human. We are not supposed to work like a machine, right? Suppose there's this saying that if someone has a kid, so it's said that it takes a village to raise that child. So if you don't have your elders there, who is going to take care of your children? So all of that makes very much sense.
Absolutely. And talking about efficiency, this is something I see here very much. Also, instant action. Until things move in the West, you need to go from A to B to C and have a plan and come back in 2 months, and then maybe we can see.
Yes.
Here, sometimes I'm here for a very short period, like now, 2 weeks. But the things I can do here within 2 weeks, it's just amazing. I mean, how much energy you can bundle. Things are ready. You can spontaneously have another idea, and things will be done immediately, knowing that other things are postponed, of course. But once you're in the flow, it's a wonderful advantage to work here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about the book. So you've also worked deeply on documenting the legacy of one of Bangladesh's most prominent architects. So we would love to hear about your experience on working with spaces of belonging. This is the book that we're talking about. This is a fantastic book. So it's the Spaces of Belonging, an Architecture of Muzharul Islam. We would love to hear more about your experience while working on the book.
Mm-hmm. Well, the idea came up to do a book on Muzharul Islam after I have done other books and write-ups on the contemporary architecture scene, whatever contemporary means, but let's say the people who are right now working in the country, and I had the chance to do an exhibition on that, and as well a book called Bengal Stream.
Yes.
And Islam was part of that exhibition in one section, because he's said to be the father of modern architecture here. He was the first trained architect in Bangladesh, or today's Bangladesh. So there is a clear, let's say, it's visible quite clearly that today's architects are highly inspired by Muzharul Islam, because he basically already established many of the things which are valid today and will be valid in the future again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore, I had in mind to also document his work, because I appreciate it as a highly contemporary work. Although it was produced from the 50s till the 1980s, what we would call past. But in his case, this notion of past, present, and future is not really working. We have to look deeper into it, and we discover that it's absolutely contemporary what he did some time before. Even studying the history here and transforming it into modern language, modern concepts. He did really a lot of things which the West would claim this is modernism as it was invented at the Bauhaus and so on. But the story is, of course, not true, because it's a bit the other way around. As we had said before, things evolve in parallel, and many ideas which were claimed to be Western modern or classical modern were, of course, not. They were all borrowed from Asia. And this is quite well documented, but it is often forgotten. And again, in the case of Muzharul Islam, many critic has just put him in the corner to be a tropical modernist, which means there was a modernity, and then there comes
the tropics,
the tropical version, which I do not agree with. And then there is he was put in the corner of a regionalist, so his work was considered to be highly relevant for the Delta, which it is, of course, but probably people thought we cannot learn
things from him.
Yes. But the book hopefully can explain a bit that we can learn tremendous things from Muzharul Islam when we look closer at his work.
Absolutely. Thank you for working so deeply on his monograph and bringing it to the global audience. So that would be our next question, that you have launched books and you have worked internationally and built a following in Switzerland. So how do you tell the story of Bangladesh to your global audience?
Well, one thing I often start with the cultural aspects, as we had discussed it before, just to understand a little bit the background, and that there are other possibilities than our usual thinking. And if you once see that difference as a quality, then I think it's easy to follow the story of Bangladesh. And then often I bring into play, of course, not only the nature and the uniqueness of Bangladesh, which is really unique from any other countries which are surrounding Bangladesh, but also I bring into play numbers. If you imagine the many people that live here and the many possibilities this opens up, then it becomes a marvelous and a wonderful story. Nothing is impossible. This is what I often tell my friends, as we mentioned before. Whenever you have something in mind, there may be a way to achieve that. Not everything is possible realistically, but at least the attempt to do so and to bring things in a new direction, these options are extremely high here.
Yeah.
Before people say no, it's not possible. It's always there will be an attempt at least to try it.
Yeah.
Yes. And that openness is fantastic.
Absolutely. So, what would you say surprises your audience the most? That they did not assume this about Bangladesh or Bangladesh's architecture, but then they hear it from you, and that surprises them the most.
Well, sometimes they are surprised, but they're not surprised because they think it's not possible that there is a good architecture here. This is not the case. The case is that I think we in the West are often surprised that we did not know about it and we haven't heard about it. This is not a new thing. Again, Islam started these works in the 1950s, and since then there is a large amount of excellent architecture here. But I would say until recent times, 10 years, 15 years back, and still today, these things are not disseminated too much. More and more, thanks also to, let's say, social media, easier communication. Not only books are there, there's other channels.
Yeah.
And I think this is what people surprise, that we do not know about it. And then this raises questions towards our own education, our own belief.
Yeah.
We think we're doing the right thing. That's the solution. Switzerland is said to be a country of architecture on a high level. Of course it is, but it's of course not the only one. And I brought quite some people here. We do some architecture tour once in a while.
Yeah.
And each and everyone who was here, all of the architects, they just saw the same inspiration I saw, and they had to revise this self-conscious that Switzerland is a leading nation in architecture. One of the leading nations, probably, but there is Bangladesh as another leading nation. And I used to say there were times when Switzerland was only known for cheese and chocolate. And then architecture came into play, and it had a certain reputation. Similar thing happened with Bangladesh. Already now there are architects who are becoming world famous, and Bangladesh is no longer just the land of garments. I mean, there is technology, there is architecture most of all. I think this is something which is highly recognized globally right now.
Yeah. No, definitely there is this very unique mindset here, as you were saying. In our sector of tech, we also see that every single day, that we have these very brilliant and fantastic developers, engineers. They're coming up, and at SELISE we try to accommodate as much of them as possible, to be honest. And we get to see that how they are honing their skills, they are learning things from a global platform, and not only from SELISE, but I'm sure that being so skilled and talented, they would figure out things by themselves. That's really amazing to see that. So how would you see that architecture is translating into other creative industries?
I think there are common things in all the fields that can be applied in architecture and in other fields. And architecture can have quite a big impact if it, to trigger or to let's say support such a mindset. If you build an architecture which allows to behave or think like what we just described, then the architecture is supportive in that sense. If you think you have to build boxes, then of course
the creativity is restrained.
Exactly. So. Yes, and again, the open architecture, as you see it here, I think underlines also the thinking and the process. And there is sometimes not probably one workspace where you do a specific work, but maybe you even go to the veranda and have some time of contemplation, or you work there.
Yeah,
it's not that strict. again, box, literally, in the spatial sense, where you have to do this and you have to do that.
Yeah.
And I notice whenever I'm working here, I'm working totally differently. I can do things even on a rickshaw or in a car, or because travels are long.
Travels are long.
Yes, and
there's traffic.
Yes, and you go from one to the next, and you have a meeting here, and then totally different topic here, and it's much more intertwined.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. So what excites you most about the future of architecture in Bangladesh?
One big issue, of course, is how does Bangladesh prevent the beauty and the qualities of the landscape and the rural area. In the rural areas, of course, they're vulnerable to natural disasters.
Absolutely.
There is not a high, let's say, economic growth, whereas the cities, of course, are the engines. Education maybe is still a problem in remote areas, and this, of course, triggers a land migration. And as we all know, Dhaka is growing endlessly every day. One more million people, so it will be the largest city on the planet. And the question is how can you avoid that concentration? Because at a certain point it will be just too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there are things now which architects already have in the pipeline or talk about to decentralize
some of the bigger things.
Yes, do more hubs, do more mid-sized cities. Try to also to create opportunities in the rural areas, health facilities.
Yeah, health facilities, that's super important.
It's very important. Otherwise, people will not stay. And architects...
And job opportunities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And many architects, as I said in the very beginning, which mostly have their offices in Dhaka and build the high-rises here, they also do projects in the countryside, hospitals, schools, small scale, mid-size, and they're thinking about urban planning. But whether this can be fulfilled has to be seen. But I'm really curious when you're asking me about the future. What I will observe here is what happens now with that idea of decentralization. And how can you stop that inner migration, which will lead to a collapse of the big cities like Dhaka or Chittagong, which are already on the fringe of a collapse, I would say.
Absolutely.
Still, they function, and
still somehow they function.
Something which amazes me every day is that every day almost 30 million people wake up here, and the engine goes on, probably never stops, but it works. And then I imagine our little country, Switzerland, with hardly 10 million. It's not so astonishing that this works every day. And sometimes it doesn't work. But this is highly fascinating, how such a huge city still functions, and
somehow it's functioning.
It's invisible how it really works.
Yes, absolutely. So actually we are at the very end of our discussion today. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was a very inspiring thing hearing from you that Bangladesh's architecture, we've always heard about that, how the global West is shaping our architecture, but it's very refreshing to hear from you that Bangladesh's architectural narrative is shaping a bit of the West as well. So thank you so much for joining, and we loved having you here.
Thank you for the conversation. Thanks for having me. This was a great pleasure.